Yeah, I'm from North Carolina, and
Nice. No, we are in early 20s or just college time. It's time to not know what you're doing and just enjoy it and just figure out what you don't like though. Like just take off things to make the circle smaller. But you're not gonna figure out really soon or now or ever.
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, well, yeah, so we do have Hayes here. He's gonna share a lot about his story, and yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy this podcast. But before we start, I'm just gonna open with a prayer, and we're gonna go into this. Thank you, Lord. We love you. We thank you for this time. We thank you for an amazing weather. I thank you for Hayes, his time, and for him to be here, really to be in this moment with me. I thank you for Beyond the Books. I thank you for everybody who's going to watch, who's going to listen to this podcast. And I pray that everything that we say here just help people who are going to be listening. I pray that we're going to be saying, speaking life into people. And I pray that we grow and we learn. We love you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Yeah. Okay. So Hayes, yeah, I know that I emailed you like the other day to come here and just be in a podcast, and you said yes. And I thank you for that. Let's say if a director asked you to be in a movie, what is the position you'd like to play in the movie? And yeah, what are your strengths and passions and things that you would like to show?
Like what character?
Yes.
I don't know. I would definitely want to be a narrator.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely want to kind of give exposition to like different parts of my life, and
yeah,
I've been through quite a bit. Cancer's not the only hard thing I've been through.
yeah,
And so, like, I don't know, on the surface, it might not look like I've been through a lot. But, yeah, I think I would be a narrator. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah. No, I like that. And I mean, I'm open to learn more about you because I don't really know you like that well. If you'd like to share me about things that you've been, we can start from like you were born, I don't know, and you can tell me like your high school experience, your middle school experience, when you're not in school. Like, can you tell me a little bit more about your life if you don't mind?
No problem. When I was 6 years old, my father murdered my mother, and he put me and my sister in a closet, and we just heard everything while it happened. And he killed 2 other women, and then on December 31st, I think 2008 or 2009, he killed himself. And this is awesome. But yeah, it might sound gruesome to some, but for me, that's just factual. That's just the way my life started. I'm kind of apprehensive sometimes of telling people that. I don't want to like garner sympathy. But yeah, it's just, for me, it's just like a fact of life, like that happened to me.
Yeah.
Other people are like, wow, that's actually crazy, but like for me, I'm like, it's just how my life has been. It's just, and I think the matter of fact sort of nature of that is not only come from a life, like from living that story, but also like I was rather young when all that happened. Yeah. So after that happened, I was adopted by my uncle, the brother of my biological mother. And we were taken into their family along with my sisters. And I was raised by them. Wonderful family, We had some conflicts and just, usual family stuff. Like
family.
there's just bickering and like arguing in families and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like the source of all of mine in particular was like, I look like my father, and it was still like painful to my uncle, so like he adopted me and my sisters despite the fresh wounds. And I feel like every time he saw me or my sisters, like while he was like stressed or angry or anything like that, he would kind of see my parents. And my father, while it seems like he's like the bad guy of the story, my biological father, both of my parents hailed my adoptive parents' life. Like my father grew up with my uncle grew up with my biological mother, and she deep down was a loving, caring person, but she kind of took a part in the way that she died.
Yeah, and I cannot imagine that. I know I'm not trying to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, her character was the type to push someone to do that. You know, like, I'm not blaming her for her demise. I'm just saying, like, when two unhealthy people get together, I mean,
something unhealthy happened.
yeah. So
Let me
I'm
ask you before that. I'm sorry that happened to you, and I know that you don't like to say, just for people to say I'm sorry, and I cannot imagine that at 6 years old, and I'm sure that now you're like you
I'm
grew
ancient.
up.
I'm just kidding.
You grew up like you've kind of had to sit with that for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I think the painful part of growing up with that was just not understanding.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you not understand?
just being in a really unique situation that not a lot of people can relate to. You know, like the fact that like your adoptive parents, which I now call my mom and pop, had fresh wounds and were trying to raise you at the same time. So
you look exactly like that person.
And I look exactly like the perpetrator of those fresh wounds. So, like, I'm sure at times it was really hard for them, and I know at times it was really hard for me. I think to this day, like, there's still some parts of me that are affected by, like, the way I grew up. Even to this day, like, I'm still, like, discovering, I'm like, oh, that's actually a good thing about me. It's not a bad thing. It's, you know, it might have seemed like a bad thing because, like, I might have sounded like my father, or I might have sounded or acted like my mother.
No, I first want to thank you for, like, being open, because that's a really hard things to say, and you're so vulnerable, and I can see that you're strong. Like, it definitely, maybe it broke you somewhere, but like it made you stronger. I can see it, and there's a reason that you're still alive, and there's a reason that you went through that, and you're here right now. God has a plan for you. I don't know where.
I don't know what it is,
but
either.
I know that He does, because that is really hard, Hayes. But before we keep going with you telling me your story, like, how was life before that time?
Don't really remember
if you
much.
can remember. Yeah, 6 years old, someone is really young.
My sister pretty much raised me. My mother was kind of a neglectful one. I remember just my sister being my mom. She was 12 when I was 6, so she was like, right now I think she's 27.
Yes.
Yeah, as of March, she's 20.
Yes.
I hope I didn't get that.
That's okay. Wow. Yeah. So when you went to live with your uncle and now your parents, did you go to school? Did you homeschool? Like, how was
Yeah,
school?
I went to public school.
How was that? Being different, kind of, with everything.
I'm not sure. I don't think my public school experience was like too like unique. You know, like I didn't ever get bullied or nothing, or you know, like growing up with a lot of siblings, like you just, and I'm the youngest, so like never had any bullies, so I always just kind of like punched upwards.
I get that, yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of just had a typical public school experience.
Okay.
I think in high school, like I just had a lot of insecurities that kind of stemmed from like the conflict and tensions in my house.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about like right before you got adopted? Tell me the time that you were in a closet, like with your sister, hearing everything, if you can remember, like, did you even understand what was happening? Because 6 years old.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I remember Haley, my sister, not to name drop, but we had a DS, like a Nintendo DS with us, and we were playing the game My Littlest Pet Shop or whatever. And while we were playing it, she was like, "Do you hear screaming?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "I hear screaming." And we just got really quiet so we could hear it, but I never did. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you find out? That's what happened? Like, did police tell you?
Yeah. We were wow. Actually, so the police. So after my father, you know, he took us to his like cousin's house to like hide and stuff. I was like, yeah, it was about like New Year's and
like end of the year.
Yeah, and that night the police came to the house and he shot himself. Yeah, I can't remember if like the glass shattering was from like police breaking down the door, or was from him shooting himself. But he did, and the police got me and my sister and took us to the police station. We spent the night there, and in the morning after, they told us what happened. And I was like, well, who's going to be my parents, right? And
Is that what you asked, like at 6-year-old? Like,
I said, well, who are we going to live with, you know? And my uncle and aunt said, like, you're going to live with us. Yeah.
Hayes, wow, that is, that's hard. But wow, you went through it and you're here now. And I'm really grateful that you are. So yeah, sorry. I think I stopped you, but you keep telling me. So you're living with your aunt and uncle, and they would see you and think about your parents, but they still raised you both, loved you, like tried everything for you to eat and dress and go to school and leave and be.
Honestly, one of the only reasons that I know God exists is because like a love like that doesn't make any sense.
Tell me more about that.
Well, for instance, I overheard one time, I'm not 100% certain of this, but I know my now father, I call him dad.
Yeah, of course.
And I know that he didn't initially want to adopt us, right? And yeah, because it's an incredibly hard thing to do. You have to, it's like you're sacrificing the attention you want to give to your injuries, right, in order to help someone else. Like you're neglecting your own pain for someone else. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense he wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, no, he's like,
I got my own, and he has his own kids, right?
Yeah.
And so he's got his hands full, right? But honestly, learning that fact made me feel more loved because
he didn't have to, but he chose to.
He didn't have to, he didn't want to, and he did.
Yeah.
And that, God, like,
is God's love. Yeah.
Like, it just, no one on this earth makes me feel more loved than my parents. And, like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah.
And, like, I've had moments where I feel like, oh, I'm never going to be able to pay it back. Like, I'm never going to, like, I don't feel like I amount to the amount that I was given, but...
Yeah, and I don't think, I don't know them, but I don't think when they did that, they wanted you to pay back. No, they chose to. Yeah, wow. Let me ask you, how was it growing with other siblings that were not like actual siblings, but they were cousins?
First, wow, it's kind of crazy. I haven't thought of them as like cousins, but yeah.
Yeah, brothers and sisters.
Yeah, but at first, it was kind of a big adjustment, of course.
Of course.
Even though my siblings were older, they were still young at the time. And so they had all these reservations about new people in the house. It's kind of like how, like when you adopt a new pet and the other pet hates it. Yeah. Well,
share food.
It was kind of like that for a little bit, but like over time, we grew closer.
How were you when you were like a kid? Like after that time, like were you really quiet? Were you like, how were you?
I talked all the time. I asked a million questions a day. Just crack jokes all the time. I kind of just took all of my emotions and turned them into humor.
I like that. Yeah. Do you feel like when you were a teenager, like in high school, you were like healed?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I'd say my pain didn't come from losing my parents. Pain came from navigating a world where one of my parents murdered the other, and the other parent kind of provoked the other to murder them. Like navigating a world where those are your parents. I'm not belittling my parents, my biological parents.
Of course.
'Cause, it ended terribly, but you can follow a line of logic and reasoning and emotion, and you can eventually get to that point, right?
Yeah.
It's a horrible ending.
Yeah.
It's a horrible ending.
Yeah.
But if you evaluate each other's minds and stories, you can see why things happened a certain way. And I'm not saying like, I guess I am being devil's advocate, but...
No, I guess I do understand you. Like, those are not things that we want to happen, but... there's a verse in the Bible that says, he takes what the enemy meant for evil, he turns it for good. So bad things happen, but sometimes they don't turn into, like, it can build a beautiful thing.
I guess what I was saying,
I don't know if that's what you meant.
I guess what I was saying is like, as monstrous as things turned out, it was still human. Those two people, like, are my genetic composition. Like, I got to know my parents through the stories told by my adoptive parents. And most of them were not good stories, you know? And so like hellish outcome you were running away from, you know? Like, I'm not gonna be like these people, I'm not gonna be like these people. Anything of like any proportion alike to my father and mother, that's just a mess of a sentence. Like, any attribute that reminded my adoptive parents of my real parents, I felt was kind of like punished.
Yeah, how did that feel? Yeah, how did you take that?
It made me feel.
Yeah. Do you feel like you don't want to, have you forgive them? Like, do you feel like free
From like anger and resentment?
Yeah.
Some days I get angry and then I still call them and I love them, and there's no one on earth that I love more. It's just, yeah, I get angry, but I used to get angry at them, but I realized that like something I need to do is grow and be able to speak for myself. And like when you don't feel confident or strong enough to do that for yourself, it sucks.
Yes.
But I realized like, you know, the way that they reacted to some things, you know, while it wasn't awesome, it wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
You know, and in retrospect, like, yeah, they could have done some things differently and maybe not compared me to my parents. But, like, you can only ask for so much, right? Like counting my blessings way outweigh all the things I've been through. And honestly, I feel like in 5 years, 10 years, when I devote myself to the things that will make me a better person, that the pain has shed light upon, like, I'm going to be really thankful that, like, life kind of put me through that. Because, yeah, for one, I really value strength, whether it be physical or emotional. Strength and courage are the foundation for honesty, and honesty is the foundation for meaningful relationships. And if you don't have the strength to be honest, and you don't have the strength to stand up for yourself, like, and your beliefs, and just put yourself out there without fear, you know, you won't be able to have meaningful relationships with people. And
that's important.
It's everything. Because if you don't, it really sucks.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, I realized this, like, one of my sisters, my stepsister, recently got married, and during the father-daughter dance, I was looking at my father and my adoptive sister. I'll just say
Your
sister.
Yeah, I get it now, yes.
And I was like, you know why they get along so well? It's because they are not afraid to say what's on their mind. And they know exactly what each other are thinking. And they're strong, and they have the strength to say what's on their mind, and regardless of the consequences, you know?
Yeah. Are you afraid of saying things that are in your mind?
Yeah.
Why do you think so? Like, is it because probably, like, some people have power over you? Is it, like, what do you think you have?
Well, I think a lot of times when I was compared to my father a lot growing up. And anytime I was put in a position where I had to explain myself, right? When I did, it was like I wasn't met with someone who was trying to understand my side of the story. It just felt like a trap. You know, like I was like, oh, it doesn't really matter what I say, so I'm just not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Just not saying anything. I wouldn't even lie. I would just stop talking, you know, because it's like saying nothing is better than lying and telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because for one, if I told them the truth, like, I absolutely would not be met with patience and understanding.
Yeah.
And I've grown to realize, like, damn, that's really valuable. Like,
yeah.
And I'm working on that with myself.
Something that someone told me and it kind of changed my life is, do you know how we say, oh yeah, I'm a college student right now, I don't know what I'm doing. It's my first time being in this stage of life. It's my first time being this age, being here. Like, I'm figuring things out. Someone told me, look at that in image of your parents. This is your first time being who they are right now. It's your first time taking care of you at this age, at this time. It's your first time working. Like, it's their first time doing the things that they're doing. That means they're not good at it. So it helped me myself to forgive things that I was like...
Be more compassionate.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're trying to figure things out too. Oh my gosh, like...
So compassionate towards others.
Yes. So it was like how I like always say, yeah, it's like my first time being this age. I'm trying to figure things out. Like, look at this woman or this man who's loving and trying to provide for me, trying to do this for me, but still they make mistakes because they're trying to figure things out, to be the best in what they're doing. And I'm not saying this to minimize any feelings that you have, because it's valid, and I would wish and pray that you did not go through that, but like understanding that people are living and are going through the same thing or worse or less, I don't know, but like it's their first time doing everything they're doing too. And I mean, I always say on this podcast, we're human beings. We all fall short on sin. We're all trying to figure things out, and we need God's help to like be better every day. So yeah, I'm sorry but I hope that whenever you're trying to work on yourself, I hope that would help. And yeah, like I would love to have more conversations about this, because I'm my youngest sibling too, and I used to not talk because it's like, in Africa, parents are scarier than America. America, when you hit your child, you call 911. In Rwanda, there is no 911. So it's like, I grew up like having this fear of like saying anything or doing anything. If there's something wrong, I'm getting blamed because I'm younger. So I didn't know better. Sometimes it's not me, you know? But I learned that I can say what I think, but also sometimes I don't need to. I need to resolve it in my heart and pray that God can give me peace. You know, it depends. It's situation by situation, if that makes sense. But yeah, if you were keep telling me about like kind of your life story, I don't know if that's where you want to keep going or there's anything else before we continue.
It's a really neat piece of advice. I'm just beginning to learn how to be compassionate towards myself, and
yeah,
I have not been very compassionate towards others. Well, I would say I don't know what I don't know what distinguishes when I am compassionate towards other people and when I'm not. There's just like some things that like peeve me more than other things. Like I'm like, oh, are you this like helpless? Like, why can't you do this?
Yes.
Like I have that feeling a lot. And I'm like,
we all do though. Like
we could talk about that for a while.
Because that's life. It's everyday thing.
I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the kind of guy I want to be. Like, I want to be a guy that people like. I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad he's here. Instead of like, there's that douchebag who keeps.
Hey, is rude.
No, I'm saying like a situation where I grow old and bitter.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't want to be that guy who like insults Chick-fil-A workers.
Why are you
Why is there seltzer water?
Yes. I think you're not going to be though, because you have...
Because I already am.
No, actually, now that I know a little bit about more of your story, you're not angry. You're not that person who's always like, no. Like you actually smile at people. You talk to people.
That was a funny face.
No, because like some people, I'm scared of people who are like that. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I usually say hi to those people and I'm like, oh, I am going. Actually, I have a class, even if I don't. It's just like, I understand what you say. Like, you're not that person at all. You're not that person. I feel like another thing too, like how other people see you, it's nice that you see it to yourself too. Like, I think you're really like a nice person, a really open person, and you don't look, as much as you went through a lot, you don't look sad, you don't look angry, you don't look like it took you down. And that is a good thing.
Sometimes, like sometimes I wish people could see what I've been through before treating me a certain way. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna name drop some professors. I'm just kidding. No,
boycott.
Yeah, but
Department of...
I see you watching. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say your Department of ETAT, but like... Yeah. I'm a nursing major, so I don't know any of that. But no, you were really like Look, you're smiling. Some people. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little
Some
bit.
people don't have nothing happen and then they're like that.
Exactly.
Like-
They're like mad that the shower water was cold today, like it didn't warm up, and they were like, okay, I'm just gonna take a cold shower, and then the whole day and the week, they're so mad. You know? So and I feel like that's the seed of like maybe love from your parents now, but also like that's God. Because like, no matter what happened, you still have the joy in your heart. Of course, we're not always going to be happy. And some days are better than others. I can see that, like joy or like happiness in you. I don't know if you try, do you feel like you try to find good things in small things or things that?
You know, now I'm getting closer to that. I used to be really idealistic. Like, I would find joy in making other people happy, but like I was like really dependent on like external validation and stuff, and still am a little bit. Things could be so much worse.
That is the positive energy I was talking about.
Yeah.
See? Like people who see the world that way, it's amazing. I met this guy last weekend, and you know how when we meet people who are like business owners or people who are trying to make the changes, activists, we always are negative. We're like, man, people are feeding us unhealthy food. The weather is getting worse. Like, we're always complaining.
Yeah.
The traffic, the noise pollution, like everything gets like bad. But that guy was like, let's take a moment. Look at the statistics. There is less crime rate in America than if being in a time life. There's less like people who are dying from hunger. There's less, those are statistics, but we complain. But honestly, fact-wise, the world is better now than if it has ever been.
You just need to get off the internet.
Yeah, so people who look at word in that way, like it can be worse. So now it's a good time. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect, but it's appreciating.
There are blessings to count.
Yes, that's a good thing. I love that. I love that from you. It's great. It's a great reminder. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, keep talking. Now.
So, I grew up, high school, eventually college. Well, actually, no. High school. That's when I got cancer.
What?
I was like maybe 16, 17. It actually happened on December 31st, 2018, I think. So, same day.
Like 10 years ago.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Wow.
Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. Feel like, I don't want to jinx myself.
No,
I might be on this podcast later, like a couple years later. But like, for me, my personal experience, like with terrible things, the worst part is just like the emotions. It hasn't been the physical ailment of cancer where I could do that. Yeah, what cancer did to me was it kind of just stripped me of meaning in life. Like, not permanently, but like, there was this one day, and I remember bald, and but with chemo this time, and I was just thinking to myself, like, oh my God, I went through everything thus far, and I might end up as a t-shirt. Like, my legacy might just be a t-shirt that people wear once. And honestly, I think the only reason I survived cancer was because I was angry at God. Actually, I didn't allow him into my life because I thought that was what he had in store for me. I thought he was just going to use me as the cancer kid. Like, so I thought he was just going to use me as someone else's, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he was going to use me for someone else's, like, oh, and yeah, my brother had cancer and died. I thought I was just going to be like a little anecdote.
Like,
and what I meant by t-shirt, I meant like, you know what I'm talking about?
Like those people who wear t-shirts like Save Kids, St. Jude's.
Yeah, well, like it'd be like a small hometown where they're like trying to gather awareness and funding for chemotherapy. No. Yeah, cancer scholarship.
Yeah. See, and when they're gonna ask for money, I'm sorry, I made this whole joke, but like, do you know those non-profits, when they're going to ask for money, they usually come with a story of
yeah.
something real that they did or they helped with. So anyway, sorry, go back.
You're good.
But yes.
But yeah, I thought that my life was just gonna be really insignificant, and I just like, and I thought that like my life would just be like reduced to like, hey, like I don't know if you know of like sort of like the culture surrounding like small town communities
Explain.
and like cancer. There's like sometimes they'll like print out a bunch of shirts and like sell them at school, and then like maybe like the profits of that will like go towards the treatment or whatever.
Okay.
It'll be like Cassidy or Save Hayes or something like that. I was like, I'm just
That's
gonna be
gonna
that.
be like,
That's all I'm gonna be. I'm just gonna be a shirt.
No.
Well, sitting in that bed, the answer was unclear,
Yeah.
and I just remember like I'm like I hated God. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is awful, and I don't want to be a part of your story. Like if this is what you have in store for me, then no, I'd rather
Yeah.
not.
I don't want to be part of that
Yeah.
story you're
So
making.
I literally like my hatred towards God is what made me live. Like I was like, I feel like if I accepted him into my heart, he would kill me.
Okay. I see the logic behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like that's what he was going to use me for. And I was like, no, I'm not.
Like I'm not
I'm not
together.
doing this. Yeah.
Me and you. Yeah.
We're done. Yeah. I was just like, I was scared, mad, going through an existential crisis, because I was like, oh, I got cancer, my world's falling apart.
You can
And
find out on December 3rd.
so actually like a couple months before I was diagnosed, like there was like this progression or I guess degradation of my health over time. I remember I just had this like ravenous hunger, right? And another thing was I had like really pale skin. Because, you know, leukemia is like the cancer of white blood cells, right? So I had this like really pale skin, and white blood cells kind of like sit in your lymph nodes and your spleen, and they're all over your body. And I actually had like two. So when your doctor like feels your neck at like doctor's appointments, they're feeling for your lymph nodes. And so these two bad boys were like huge, and it was so abnormal.
Can you physically?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. I
Yes,
thought it
you
was
could,
just like something.
No, you could physically see like
there's something
enlarged,
wrong.
like one right here, one right here. I was like, I asked my brother, I'm like, hey yo, is this normal? He was like, nah man, you just got a deep neck. I was like, the hell?
deep neck.
How many people have you walked around and saw some with a deep neck? Like, how many deep necks do you know?
It's you, man.
You're telling me this is normal? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was stupid. That was a stupid brother moment. Stupid brother moment. Like,
It's
you'd just be like, yo. He's literally just like the guy in the back of the room, just like, yo, I think you just got a deep neck. Like,
yeah. You gotta stop eating so much.
thanks,
Or
bro.
something. Yeah. So how did you end up going to the doctor after?
I was so visually like
not okay.
not okay.
Yeah.
That one day my father just like, I was working in a grocery store. My father went shopping and he saw me
He was like,
in person. He was like, you know, looking at him here, like right next to all these other people, we're gonna go take you to the hospital, right? And I knew that things were not good when they asked me to get an X-ray, and of course, like there's like no like solid tumor. They took some like blood samples and it was like milky.
and you were like, yep.
I didn't see it,
Yeah,
but that's what they told me.
And you shouldn't.
They
but
didn't
we've
tell
got-
me in person because they just didn't want to break it to me in person, so they called me later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they tell you if? Because at 16 is a really young age to get cancer.
For my type of cancer, myeloidic leukemia, it's incredibly rare, and I had this weird thing called a T-cell blast, and that for a while we like had the cancer kind of like chill, and then it got angry and tried to kill me, and so like yeah, it was extremely rare.
Did they say the reason was it genetic?
They said there was something
Like-
like a Philadelphia mutation. Don't ask me.
I was like, yeah.
I gave up being a doctor like a couple years ago.
I need to hear more about that too.
You don't.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's done.
You're like, no, that's somewhere. It has
Yeah.
its place. Oh my gosh. Wow. So tell me how long was it? Because you told me you kind of calmed it down and then got angry. Like, you didn't get chemo for a little bit.
I was
tell me
taking like an
more.
oral chemotherapy like when I first found out about it, and then it became untreatable. Like what I had to go through was a bone marrow transplant. Your bone marrow is I know. When I first heard that, I thought they were just going to cut open my bones.
But
I was like, I don't want to
Yeah.
do that. I'd rather just die. Like that sounds awful. You're gonna cut open all my bones and scoop it out.
And what do
then
you
just
mean,
And
sir?
how are you gonna
And
put them
just
back together? Yeah, like I thought it was just some horrible
Yeah.
barbaric process. I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. So, but you kill it with chemotherapy and radiation,
Yes.
and your bone marrow is actually responsible for producing your blood cells,
Yes.
and it's kind of crazy. And I'm sorry, what were you asking?
I was asking like your story, like it was going, it calmed down for a little bit, and then you had to go to chemo. How long was it? And like you told me a little bit of a story when you're in a bed and like thinking that, but like tell me more. Like what were you thinking the whole time? People came to visit. Like tell me everything.
Well, I mean, I got a lot of stories. Some of them are really funny. Some of them really suck. Some of them are funny at my expense. Gosh, yeah. One time they gave me like marijuana pills.
Doctors?
And,
or
my
somebody
doc.
No. The dude, brother.
My dude
Yeah,
brother.
yes.
I don't know. I don't think he'd be up for that task, but doctors were, and these were.
Why?
They stimulate my appetite. At one point, like they were like, if you don't eat, you're gonna die. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I'll try.
How long you were in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for like a year, almost a year.
And you were like, at that time you were not. So did it happen in your sophomore year of high school?
Sophomore, yeah. Yes.
And then you took a whole year.
I didn't take a whole year off. I actually did school online,
Why you in the hospital?
but it wasn't nearly as difficult as like regular school. Still,
Was it your idea or your parents' idea?
parents' idea. I was not thinking at the time. I was just like, just
Yeah, and after that year, how was it? Like coming back home and to life, to normal life?
Well, actually, when I got out of the hospital, like, we just went straight into the COVID year. So I was immunocompromised with this brand new blood and brand new immune system that hadn't been exposed to anything. So I was just staying inside for the next year. I did school online, and yeah, that kind of stunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were complaining about COVID. I'm like,
Bro, that was a life-changing for me.
yeah, people were like, oh my God, COVID, this sucks. My life sucks. I'm like, I want to kill you. Like,
You have the best life ever. Yes, that's crazy. Oh my God.
yeah, I was like, I'm joking.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean, though. It's people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't go play my tennis today. Oh, really?
Man, I don't get to go to the bar.
Yeah, man. There was a football game. I didn't get to watch it in person. I had tickets. Yeah, that makes sense. So you finished your high school online.
Yeah.
And how did you find out about Berea?
My mother actually went here, not my biological mother.
Yeah, your mom. Yes.
Yeah, my mom went here. She came here her sophomore year and graduated. I think maybe sophomore, junior year.
Nice.
I don't know what degree she got.
Some time ago, I think. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, nice. So let me ask you, after going through all these things, how do you find, laugh? How do you find jokes and just like...
I'm staying away from ladies. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Wait, love and joke?
Yeah, how do you laugh? How do you find laugh? How do you find
Honestly,
jokes? How do you... Because, as we said, some people...
I was really... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, keep going.
I'm
You were
sorry.
really...
My first 2 years here kind of really sucked because I was still dealing with that existential crisis. I'm like, nothing means anything. And my life is so small. I really couldn't bear with that for a while. And so I kind of distracted myself with parties and stuff and stupid stuff. And I had the opportunity to help one of my buddies out through a really hard time in his life, and I'm not going to disclose the details,
don't.
but being able to be there for someone and they need you, that, like, I can't really describe that feeling, just like when someone needs you and needs your help, like, and when you can be there for someone in a time of need. I think that changed my life, because before that happened to me, if I had died, somehow I would not be at peace. But at least with what I've done for my buddy, like, I can feel at peace. Like, if I were to die tomorrow, I wouldn't be like, yeah, I'd be mad, and I'd be like, why didn't you get me a wife, you know, like, but if I die, I would be disappointed for sure, but at least I could come to terms with it,
Yeah.
you know, and I couldn't come to terms with it before, and that really sucked.
Yeah, what do you...
I was just wandering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was going to ask, how did that change your perspective? Like, what do you... Be specific how did that change your perspective?
Well, let me know that, like, the most tangible source of meaning in life is meaningful relationships and service. And, you know, prior to that, I was just focused on material things and hoping it would garner attention in my life. Like, I would hope to get good at something so that people would see me. And that didn't work out, and I was really sad all the time. And but I discovered that, like, oh my God, like, there are, like, legit reasons to live, and it's like having, like, meaningful relationships with people, right? And having a meaningful relationship with yourself. I really want to work on myself and, like, be there for myself in ways, like, for one thing, I want to learn a martial art at some point, so that way I can feel confident speaking my mind in front of people.
Somebody don't listen.
It's not about don't listen.
I
If someone like gets up and they start dusting themselves off, like, I want to be able to be the kind of guy who just breaks their arm.
My intention was like stand there and not be scared, but you, it's like no, break your arm and then just chill about it.
Yeah. But you were saying, I was just joking.
Yeah,
but, like,
I know.
But I would prefer to
Just to be confident.
and, like, just be able to be there for myself. And, you know, like, sometimes, like, the answer to just be like, let them be crazy, you know. But when you, like, don't stand up for yourself, there's this horrible, like, feeling of betrayal in your own heart, right? Have you ever felt that? Like, you didn't do something that you really, really believed you wanted to, and your mind just eats at you. You're like, why not? You know?
I think, what you're saying is true, but I feel like I don't really get to feel like that a lot, because I do speak my mind a lot. I do it respectfully, and I try to find, like, right words and right time and whatever. But I see what you mean. And also I feel like, I was talking to my friend about this, like, a lot of girls or women growing up, we are taught to not speak. We're taught not to. I mean, I don't know if it's experienced with all of them, but, like, a lot of Africans girls, we're taught to not speak, to not say our mind. So we got comfortable with that, so we don't feel like that anymore. I feel like as you grow up, those feelings, they're, like, crunched down, if that makes sense. But what you're saying is true, because it's like, if you don't say what you feel, what you think, and believe,
then you can't foster a life worth living. If you can't speak forth what you need and want, then you're just a slave to, like, whatever people
else
make life to be for you. You're a slave to, like, the conditions that people put you in.
Why do you think that's important to you?
Because it's the antidote to suffering. Like, I can live with myself if I know at the end of the day I've spoken up for myself. You know, I stood up for myself, told someone to back off if I needed to. But it's a terrible feeling. You feel like crap about yourself when you don't do those things and you needed to.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just a loser. Like, that's what you feel like. I'm not calling myself a loser. I'm just saying, like, that's what you feel like. You feel like a loser. And you become resentful and angry, and, like,
and if you don't
have the strength to speak forth what you want your life to be like, and, like, to speak forth boundaries with people, and to tell people, hey, stop or I'm going to beat you up. Like it's the antidote to a horrible life, right? Like, otherwise you're just kind of this demon inside of you that just makes you want to drink.
Like, that makes sense.
Right?
That's interesting.
Because, like, being strong and being able to speak forth the things that matter to you, and, like, boundaries, just being able to speak for yourself. It's the foundation for meaningful relationships. Because if you have the strength to speak up for yourself and speak the truth, then you can like be vulnerable with other people and then develop like a relationship that's worth having.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, I hate when I can't be honest with someone, right? Because it's not a relationship. It's just
it's one-sided.
it's just tolerance of one another.
Yeah. But let me ask you.
It makes you feel loved. Like you need to be strong in order to have love in your life. You know what I mean?
Like honest. In order to receive that. Yeah. But let me ask you, like, why do you feel like sometimes you have to like hide or lie? Or like, what do you feel like sometimes you lack that confidence of saying whatever you believe or you think? When it's not like a parent, of course, or a president. Like when it's not somebody power over you, when it's like a student or somebody in school. Yeah, let's say here in college.
I'm afraid that like they might think I'm a bad person, or they might just because there are some people who I can be just like totally, just completely honest with, and it's so refreshing. It's just like, wow, you're an actual person. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's performative and exhausting to cater to what other people want you to be, you know? And what do I think would happen? I just think people just wouldn't like me, or like people would not just not like me, but just like kind of like outcast me or something, or just might assume bad things. And I feel like maybe I'm afraid of not having control over like what people think about me, you know? And well, we really can't help that, but like I also don't have a strong internal sense of self too, so what people think about me is really important to me, and so like that's unfortunate. I don't like that.
No, it's a real thing. I was telling my brother like it's a real thing, because even me, I feel like it's relatable to a lot of like extrovert people who talks, who jokes, because it's like it starts as like a humor thing, but the more it happens, it's like, man, it matters that they laugh. It matters that I give them a story and like I'm entertaining them. So when that is not happening anymore, who am I?
Yeah.
So I understand that.
It's like other people substantiate you.
Yeah.
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 Or it's like you're, yeah. I mean, it's an awesome thing to have the validation of other people, but I think what really sucks is like when you're dependent upon it. You know, I think that's why I'm afraid to speak up, is because like I don't want to lose that.
Yeah, I understand that.
And I don't like, if other people don't like me, it's easy for me to be like, well, I don't like myself, or there's reasons why they don't like me.
Yeah,
you know, instead of being like, wait a minute, I hate those people. I'm just kidding.
Like, or like if they like me or not, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah, it doesn't matter. Those people that I get attention from, like, what kind of a relationship is that? Just like kind of a parasitic one, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm just being performative, like I noticed, like I think in my sophomore year, I'm like, oh wow, the people I try to make like me, I don't like at all. so I stopped hanging out with them. But
yeah. Let me ask another thing. Like, how do you think you're gonna find yourself, like self of self, without depending on other people?
One, I actually genuinely do think that there is merit in the idea of like training in a martial art. I know that sounds really dumb.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But
That's
like,
what you believe. I really want to know.
Like, if I have the strength to stand up for like what I think is true, then I get to be me wherever I go, and I don't depend on others' validation. I'm less dependent upon others' validation. You know? It's like I get to be my own man wherever I go. I don't have to be this coward guy in this room and then like be whoever I want with this person, and then like to hide myself with them. Like, if I have the strength to take care of myself, like I can be the same person in all the room and it would be true, you know? And I really want that. And I genuinely, it did touch my soul. Like when I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a summer, like I remember I after like my first, maybe my second training, like I just, on my way home, I just started crying. I was like, wow, I didn't realize that I can have like pride in myself. Like I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's nice.
I didn't, like, it was like the first thing that no one had ever told me to do personally that I did for myself that that I did for myself. Like I served myself for the first time.
Like self-care.
Yeah, like just being the kind of, like I just being there for myself. Like that's the first time I had ever just like was my own superhero, you know? And I was like, oh my God, this guy cares about me. Like, didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing that you felt like that at some point. And one of my last questions, you said that when you had cancer, you kind of hated God. And what is a relationship that God plays in your life now?
Clarity. I say clarity, I should say wisdom. And like, I find myself frequently wanting things or thinking that I want certain things, and then I go to pray about it, and then I realize like, oh, this is what I should really be focusing on, because this would generate a permanent sense of like fulfillment and meaning in my life. Like what that was kind of
a moment.
Yeah, it was momentary and just kind of like I would just make a fool out of myself, you know, and like and feel empty afterwards. And I feel like I go to the Bible for like wisdom and like, okay, what's the Christ-like alternative? You know, like because my mother's a therapist and she calls certain things like proxies. And proxies are like behaviors that mimic a more fulfilling alternative. Like, what's a good example of this?
I'm trying to think, too.
I think, like, polyamorous, I shouldn't have said that.
No, that's okay.
But, like,
that's okay.
But, like, that's a proxy for, like, having, like, meaningful relationships with people, you know? And, no, pornography. Pornography is a proxy for meaningful relationships.
Yeah, because you're...
It's like the drug version of a meaningful relationship.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and like I feel like God offers like wisdom for like those sorts of desires. Like you're like, I want this in my life, right? This is what I think I want, and I'm like, well, you know, for clarity and wisdom, I go to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Another one question, I think it's going to be the last one, but it just came in my mind. Have you talked to people who are like pro martial arts people or people who are doing it like for life or like just...
Dang, I should.
You haven't?
I haven't.
Yeah, I recommend that because there's something I learned is that most of the time when we see things and we feel it for the first time, it's good and it's great to understand it from those people who actually do
on the
it
other side.
On the other side. Because we might expect... Like, let me give you an example, but it's not related 100%. And there's a reason, I'll explain the reason I say that.
You're good, I'll listen.
A lot of people who are in other countries, Mexico, for example, when they come to America, a lot of other countries, they're like, oh my gosh, there's land of opportunity. I'm writing a paper right now about American Dream. There's this idea of like, if you work hard and everything, you're gonna be rich, right? And they give examples of a lot of people. Elon Musk is one of the richest people and he came with nothing, you know? So what I'm trying to say is that if that person don't talk to a person who's in America, who's probably struggling or who's living a good life, who made it, lived the American dream, you know, whoever, and just ask, how is it? They're not gonna understand. They're gonna come with that. And when they don't live that life that they expected, they're gonna be disappointed. Or if they come with information, it's going to be easier to adjust and like live that life. So
coming from nothing.
That was like an example. But in your situation, the reason I say that is that one of the things that I learned myself is that most of the time the fulfillment things that I'm trying to find and things that I'm trying to feel, yes, outside things help, but working on myself internally is crucial more than it helps the outside factors. If I say working out, running helps me. If I don't work on myself first and then go to run, it's not gonna help by itself. So yeah, I would tell you, I mean, and this is me thinking, I don't really know.
No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, like
this
talk
is
to people, on the other side and do it professionally or the people who train you and stuff. Just have a conversation and I'm sure you're going to be there because I can see the passion you have in that confidence. You're like, I want to be confident. I want to be able to like, you know, like be okay with myself, stand up for myself. I see the passion and you're going to be there. I know that you will. Just like, just talk to those people. Yeah, and work on it internally too, like before you get to the point of being a professional martial art. Just, yeah, work on it internally. One of the things that helps me is talking to people. I yap. I mean, you can see that's why I have a podcast for life. Most of the time, I don't have confidence in myself too. English is my second language. I'm new to this school. I don't know a lot of people.
That's crazy.
I know that's sarcastic, right?
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Anyways, I don't know if you're being sarcastic.
No, you speak English very well.
Okay, thank you so much. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, I don't have confidence too sometimes. But the more I do it, fake it until you make it. Tell people the truth. They hate you today. They're gonna maybe, go to sleep in this. Like, what's the worst thing can happen? And I know, like, if you're not likable, but this is college, they're gonna forget about it another day. Or I don't know. I don't really know. But what I'm trying to say is that try to find internal before you actually find the outside. Because outside will help, but internal, it's like the base. You know what I mean? Because like outside does, like, if you're building a house, the base is the first thing. But like the big thing cannot happen if the base is not there. And base is small. It's even cheaper, I think, building. Yeah, I don't know how to build. But what I'm trying to say, like, internal is the first one. Just knowing that you can have confidence in yourself. If you know how to fight or not. If you have this or not. I can do it. And then you adding that, it's going to be amazing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But who am I? Like, I don't really know a lot. It's just like in my last experience, it's like moving here in America at 15, not speaking English, being in a place. In Rwanda, where I was, we were all black, right? Everybody was my family. Like, not everybody, but I have 8 siblings. I was so comfortable, right? Yes. So.
That's crazy. You should have been the one talking the whole time.
Trust me, I talk. I've some episodes down. But what I'm trying to say, in moving here, I came by myself at first, right? Learning English, people from different cultures. America, it's not only Americans. There's a lot of people from different cultures. And that is a hard thing too. So trying to like be a normal kid, like normal high school student, was hard because I wasn't normal. I have different culture. I wasn't used to electronics. I had my first phone when I moved to the US. I used to wear a lot of like formal clothes at school. I'd wear like a dress and like shoes. And it's like, no, people here wear sweatpants, which I started doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't normal, but like it took my inside first. And then outside it comes, like outside, well, I don't even know what I did outside. I talk and just ask questions. But I'm trying to say confidence comes, but you start inside and then you can do martial arts. You can do whatever you want. Just being a model, you're in front of people. Anyways, let's pray and finish this. I really thank you for this because, no, really, this was fun and I learned a lot from you and yeah, God bless you. I would like to have you in future again after you, like, you can maybe, I don't know, teach us martial arts in future.
Sure, I'll bake this table.
Yes, let's do it.
No.
With a finger.
No. That ain't gonna happen.
No, don't worry. Beria has money. Anyways. I got you. It's on my podcast, so.
Okay.
Anyways, let's pray. Okay. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, we thank you for everything. We thank you for this podcast. I thank you for Hayes and who he is and how amazing person that you've made him to be. Lord, I thank you for his story. I thank you for everything you've allowed him to go through and who he is, that he still smiles, he still has joy in his heart. No matter what happened, he's here. I thank you that cancer didn't stop him to be here. I thank you for the love that he got in his life. Thank you for every story that he shared, his friends, his family, everything, Lord. I know that you turn everything the enemy wanted for bad, you turn it for good, Lord. So, Lord, I thank you for Hayes. Thank you for Beyond the Books, for people that are going to listen to this story and going to be encouraged and going to learn from this. I thank you for the resources that we have here. I pray that, this can help people and it can tell people that there is still hope and no matter what's going on, that we can still find joy and that you are good. In the name of Jesus, amen. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Books. Please share to your friends and then ask questions if you have questions. I will see you next week. Thank you for listening.